A single decision made in the next 120 seconds can quietly shape the next decade of your financial life. Not because it is dramatic or heroic, but because small decisions repeated over time become the architecture of destiny. The strange truth about wealth is that it rarely begins with a grand breakthrough. It begins with a moment so small that most people overlook it entirely. Most people spend their lives sprinting, chasing promotions, chasing trends, chasing the illusion that one big opportunity will finally fix everything. Yet the finish line keeps moving further away, and the harder they run, the more exhausted they become. They wake up years later wondering why all that effort produced so little freedom. Between the person who constantly struggles and the person who steadily scales their life upward, there is an invisible barrier. It is not intelligence, it is not luck, and surprisingly, it is not even raw effort. The difference lies in a subtle rhythm of behavior that quietly shapes every day. Your current life is not random. It is a reflection of patterns you repeat without noticing, small decisions stacked so consistently that they form a lifestyle. Like a song playing in the background of your mind, these rhythms guide how you spend time, how you react to pressure, and how you treat opportunity. For a moment, forget the complicated spreadsheets, the extreme morning routines, and the endless productivity hacks people swear by. Those methods may look powerful on the surface, but they are not the true foundation of lasting financial change. The real foundation is far smaller and far easier to ignore. A billionaire and a bankrupt man both wake up with the same 24 hours waiting for them. Yet one of them has learned to master a tiny window of time that most people waste without thinking. Inside that window lies the quiet advantage that compounds day after day. This is not a story about working harder or sacrificing your entire life for success. It is about discovering how 2 simple minutes can shift your direction, change your habits, and slowly rewrite the financial future you thought was out of reach. Imagine waking up each morning with a quiet weight pressing against your chest. You know you are capable of more, you feel it somewhere deep inside, yet the path forward seems blurred and complicated. The question is never about desire, it is about the invisible barrier between potential and action. Many people spend the strongest years of their lives exchanging hours for money that quietly loses value over time. Days turn into months, months turn into years, and the cycle repeats so smoothly that it feels normal. Yet somewhere in the back of the mind, there is a persistent voice asking if life was meant to feel this limited. You read the books that promise financial freedom. You listen to the seminars that speak about opportunity and abundance. For a moment the motivation rises, but when the excitement fades, the numbers in your bank account seem unchanged, as if progress refuses to move. There is a particular kind of discomfort that appears when you watch others achieve the freedom you imagined for yourself. You celebrate their success on the surface, but internally you wonder what invisible step they discovered that you somehow missed along the way. To escape that discomfort, many people fill their days with endless activity. Emails, meetings, errands, constant motion that creates the illusion of progress. Being busy becomes a shield that hides the deeper fear of standing still. But effort without a clear psychological anchor becomes dangerous. The harder you push without direction, the closer you move toward exhaustion instead of achievement. It feels like running faster on a treadmill that never actually moves forward. The truth is far less harsh than most people believe. You are not lazy, and you are not incapable. You are simply operating on an outdated internal system, a fragmented pattern of habits that was never designed to build the future you truly want. The modern world is not designed for deep focus or long-term creation. It is engineered to keep your attention scattered, your energy divided, and your decisions reactive rather than intentional. Every platform, every notification, every flashing headline competes for the same limited space inside your mind. Each alert on your phone feels small, almost harmless. Yet over time these interruptions chip away at the quiet mental space required to build something meaningful. Instead of designing your future, you become trapped responding to the demands of the present. Bills arrive, responsibilities multiply, and expectations quietly rise with every passing year. The dream you once called someday begins colliding with the hard reality of right now. That collision creates a tension that many people carry silently. You feel it in subtle moments. When you open your banking app and hesitate for a second longer than usual. When you calculate how many hours of work stand between you and a small improvement in your financial life. The numbers start to feel like a leaking bucket you cannot quite fix. Discipline, which once sounded empowering, slowly begins to feel like punishment. Not because discipline itself is painful, but because you are trying to lift the entire mountain at once, instead of moving the smallest stone first. Over time, the emotional cost grows heavier than the financial one. Doubt starts whispering questions you never used to ask. It reaches into your confidence, and sometimes even into your closest relationships, turning stress into quiet frustration. Pressure has a strange nature. In the right conditions, it creates diamonds, transforming raw material into something powerful. But without the right structure, that same pressure slowly crushes dreams until they dissolve into dust. There comes a quiet night when the noise of constant striving finally fades. You lie awake staring into the darkness, feeling the weight of years spent chasing a version of success that always seemed just out of reach. In that still moment, the promise of endless grinding begins to lose its power. You begin to see a difficult truth. No matter how many hours you add to your schedule, you cannot outwork a mind that is wired for distraction and short bursts of dopamine. Effort alone cannot fix a system that was never built to sustain progress. The culture of constant hustle slowly reveals itself as incomplete. It celebrates movement, but rarely teaches direction. Millions of people are running as fast as they can, yet many of them are simply circling the same place year after year. This realization can feel uncomfortable, even humbling. It asks you to admit that your current approach, the one you believed was your absolute best, may not be enough to carry you into the future you want. With that awareness comes a deep exhaustion that goes beyond the body. It is the fatigue of constantly pushing without clarity, the spiritual tiredness of chasing results that never seem to fully arrive. Yet inside that exhaustion there is also silence. When the noise of expectations fades, something small but powerful begins to surface. You start to notice a tiny detail that was hidden beneath all the complexity. In that quiet moment, a surprising realization appears. The problem was never your ambition, and the solution may not require a completely new life. What you may actually need is a new entry point, a simple doorway that opens within the first 120 seconds of action. Buried within the study of high-performance psychology, there is a principle so simple that most people dismiss it the first time they hear it. Yet this quiet law has guided the transformation of countless individuals who once felt stuck between ambition and action. The principle states that every habit, no matter how complex or intimidating, can be reduced to a version that takes only 2 minutes to begin. Not to finish the task, not to master the skill, but simply to initiate the first motion. In that moment, the goal changes completely. You are no longer trying to build an empire in a single day. Instead, you focus on mastering the small gateway that leads toward that empire. The search for dramatic breakthroughs begins to fade. You stop waiting for the perfect surge of motivation or the heroic burst of discipline. Instead, you begin looking for what can be started immediately, quietly, almost effortlessly. This shift creates a powerful psychological pivot. Your focus moves away from chasing outcomes and toward shaping identity. Every small action becomes proof of the person you are becoming. When you learn to control the first 2 minutes of a task, something unexpected begins to happen. Momentum starts forming naturally, carrying your focus forward long after the timer has ended. From that point forward, you stop arguing with your emotions. You stop negotiating with your motivation. Instead, you make a simple agreement with time itself. When the timer begins, the first step begins with it. The process begins with a rule, so simple it almost feels too easy to matter. If a task can be done in less than 2 minutes, you do it immediately. If the task is larger, you commit only to the first 2 minutes of starting it. On the first day, it may feel insignificant. Your mind, conditioned to believe that progress must be difficult, almost resists the simplicity. 2 minutes seems too small to create change, too quiet to feel important. But something subtle begins to happen as the days pass. By the end of the first week, your brain starts forming new pathways. Actions that once required effort slowly begin transforming into natural reflexes. Instead of reaching for your phone to scroll through endless updates, you open a financial app and review your numbers. In the brief window of 2 focused minutes, you reconnect with the reality of your financial life. At first, the results appear small, almost invisible. Yet those tiny daily moments accumulate like drops of water, filling a reservoir. What once felt overwhelming begins to look organized, clear, and manageable. Wealth, you begin to realize, is not built during dramatic breakthroughs. It grows quietly in consistent rituals, the simple habit of checking, learning, adjusting, and moving forward each day. Gradually, something deeper changes inside you. You are no longer forcing yourself to pursue financial growth. You are simply behaving like someone who manages their future, one focused 2-minute ritual at a time. True wealth is often misunderstood as a number stored somewhere in a distant bank account. But the deeper form of wealth reveals itself when you realize that your time is no longer controlled by chaos or distraction. It is guided by intention. The small 2-minute habit was never truly about the task itself. Its real purpose was to show you that control over your life begins with control over the smallest actions. When you look back at where you once stood, the mountain that seemed impossible starts to look different. It was never a single overwhelming climb. It was always a path made of small steps taken consistently. Every challenge you face contains a doorway hidden within its first moments. When you win those first 120 seconds, you quietly shift the outcome before the battle even begins. The future you want does not require perfection or endless motivation. It requires the willingness to begin, again and again, with the smallest action that moves you forward. Take a moment now and think about the one simple habit you could begin tonight. A 2-minute action that protects your time, sharpens your focus, and strengthens the foundation of your financial future. If this idea sparked something inside you, carry it forward. Share the small commitment you will start today, and remember that the people who change their future are often the ones who learn to master the moments others ignore.